The following presentation is brought to you by Amazing Discoveries. To see this entire video, please contact amazingdiscoveries.org.
The crime of the Antichrist. Now, we've dealt with some of these issues already yesterday, but perhaps we just want to put one or two things into perspective and see where we're heading. Before I do that, what is a beast in the Bible? It's a political entity. Now, we find the beast in Revelation as well, and we find that beast in Revelation 13, and it rises up out of the sea amongst the nations. And then it has all the attributes of the little horn. All the attributes of the little horn. And we'll deal with that prophecy in detail, I think it is tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. And somebody asked me earlier, is America in prophecy? Well, come and listen tomorrow night. And let's have a look at what the Bible says. And then you decide for yourself if it's in there or whether it's not in there. I mean, this is a thunderous time that we're living in. Now, you know, if something walks like a duck, and it looks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, then it's probably a duck, right? So if something has exactly the same attributes as the little horn in Daniel chapter 7, then what is the probability that it is the little horn in Daniel chapter 7? Pretty good, right? Okay. So this power we'll be dealing with tomorrow night, and there is just so much to deal with, you cannot open it up all in one evening. But let's have a look at this little horn power and look at some of the aspects of what it did. The little horn power in Daniel 7:25 we saw last night would think to change times and laws. Of course, he says that he can change times and laws, he can change the times, he can change God's law, but in actual fact, he only presumes to. He is presumptuous. Nobody can change God's law and get away with it. Would you agree? Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it you shall not do any work, thou nor thy son nor thy daughter, thy manservant nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger, that is within thy gates. For there's a reason. In 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth. Now what does the evolution theory do to that text? Was it in the waste paper basket? How many lectures did we spend here saying that you cannot throw that text into the waste paper basket? Was it 4? I think so. You cannot throw that in the waste paper basket. Now why so much effort to throw that piece in the waste paper basket? Because if that piece is not in the waste paper basket, then you're in trouble with this one. The sea and all that in them is, and he rested on the seventh day, wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Exodus 28:11. That means he set it aside for holy use. Now man was created male and female, representing communication on the horizontal level. He was to be confederate. But without God in the equation, you have what you have today. Total chaos. Not only in marriage, but in general. You have to have God in the equation. This is quite an interesting story. When I first came into contact with God, I was actually quite jealous of him. Because he requires first place. And I was married to my wife and she was all mine. And now I had to share her. That was tough. I walked around with a lip this long for quite a while I was mulling this over. Maybe I'm just a bit weird, but I was thinking about these things. Now, eventually, when I started realizing the character of God, and his total selfishness, If someone is 100% selfless, like Jesus was, he poured himself out for mankind. If he's 100% selfish, then how much are you going to get out of the deal if you are dealing with such an individual? You're going to get 100%. And that's the beauty of it. You see, if you love God supremely, you get God's love supremely, unselfishly poured out upon you, and the blessing becomes so great that the relationship between a man and a woman gets increased in relationship glory, whatever you want to call it, millions of times. It gets enhanced because God is in the equation. In fact, God can set so many of our selfish rituals straight. How many people are linked to each other by selfish ties? That the one may not do this or that or the other because the other one restrains him. Now, if you have the Spirit of God in you, you become selfless, and your whole view changes, and you want to make the other one more happy by giving more and more freedom. And of course that is dangerous in the eyes of the world, because freedom means you can do what you want to. So it's a question of choice. So if you're making your choices within the realms of what God has defined as right and good, then the relationship can blossom. It's absolutely amazing. So here God says that you must keep the Sabbath day, for in 6 days the Lord made the heavens, the earth, the sea, and all that is in them. But He's the Creator. He's the one that brought it all about. And He rested on the 7th day. He rested. Was God tired? No, God wasn't tired. So what is this rest that He found in His relationship with man? He rested because in man He found the fulfillment of His whole plan for the entire universe. His whole plan. In man was to be made manifest the glory of God. He created man for His own glory, says the Bible. In other words, man was to reflect to the universe the glory and the wisdom of God. It's a noble, noble purpose. Tremendous thoughts. So here, God looked at this new creation of His, and He found rest in it. It's like when you have a new relationship. You've met this woman of your dreams, or if you are of the opposite sex, this man of your dreams. And you've been separated for a while, and now you come together again for the first time, and you look at each other and you hold each other, and you have nothing to say except rest. To find rest in the relationship. Does that make any sense? So God rested. He found peace in the relationship, even though He knew that war was going to break out all around Him as a consequence. Because the devil was angry when he created man. He was angry. But God found rest in man, and man can find rest in God in spite of what's going on around us. So He rested on the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Do you know that two lovers that really love each other can find rest in each other even if the whole world is going up in smoke around them? Did you know that? Absolutely. So we can only find rest in God. So God took this Sabbath day and set it aside for a holy purpose. He said to man, you go and have dominion. You go and do whatever you want to do. You place the world under you. Put it into subjection. Change it, modify it, do whatever you like. But once a week, let's come and have Holy Communion together. We will talk every day. We will walk together every day. We will commune every day. But let's set a day aside. That's what it is all about. Exodus 20:11, for in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all in them, and He rested. And the Hebrew word used there is nuach, whereas previously it was Shabbat. The seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day, and he hallowed it. And this nuach, if you look it up in the Strong's Concordance, means to rest, to settle down. It means to be confederate. It's like I've been explaining, to be together, to have this feeling that, wow, this is great, we belong together. Moreover, also I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they may know that I am the Lord that sanctify them. This holy relationship, this capacity to do what is right, this will to do what is right, comes from God. And so the Lord gave the Sabbath as a sign between them, that they may know that He, the Lord, is the one that sanctifies them. Ezekiel 20, verse 12 and 20. So and here's another parallel text. And hallow my Sabbaths, hallow them, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am the Lord your God. This is weird. Is it possible that somebody else could be the Lord your God? Yes or no?
Yes, it is.
Well, many people, the ancient folks, even the Israelites, constantly strayed and bowed down to another deity, whoever he was, whether he was Moloch, or whether he was Baal, or whether he was whatever, or they worshipped Ashtoreth, the queen of heaven. All these strange deities. God says, no, 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 listen here. I make a pact with you. Hallow my Sabbath, and it shall be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am the Lord your God. It's like a test. It's like a test. Exodus 31, verse 13. Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you. Not another, I am the one. Exodus 31:16. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generation, for a perpetual covenant. For a perpetual covenant. Now let's have a look at this sign. It is a sign, Hebrews, the word there is oath, between me and the children of Israel forever. Why? For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, and rested on the seventh day, and he was refreshed. Nafash. Very interesting verse this. So it is a sign. And why? Because God is your creator. He's your owner. He says there, choose me. I am the one who made you. All the others didn't make you. They're just stealing you and offering you nothing in return but death. So it is a sign, and God was refreshed. Now what does that word sign mean? Well, if you look up the Hebrew again, put it into your Strong's Concordance. You can do this all at home. If you have a computer, if you have a concordance, look it up. And it says it is a token, it is an ensign, it is a miracle if you like, and it is a mark, it is a standard, it is a mark. A signal, a distinguishing mark. That's the Strong's Concordance definition of the word. So does God have a mark?
Yes.
What is it?
Sabbath.
It's the Sabbath. God has a mark. Does the beast have a mark? Yeah, it's called the mark of the beast. I wonder what that is. Is it a computer in Brussels? Is it a barcode that will be chapped onto your hand? Is it something that you find on a can of beans? If you look at the bottom? Is God interested in lines on a can of beans, or is he interested in your character and in your allegiance? What is he interested in? In your character and in your allegiance. So let's have a look at this very carefully. All right. So we've now established that God has a mark, a sign, and it is the Sabbath. So it is a mark or a sign between me and the children of Israel forever, for in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, and the seventh day he rested, and he was refreshed. So we must understand God's mark, his sign, or his seal. These are synonyms. Let's have a look at the seal of the United States. Seeing that we are in the United States, a seal authenticates a document. This is the seal of the President of the United States of America. And this was a typical royal seal. This was the seal of George VI, Regent King of England. Note the three elements. It gives his name, George VI, and it gives his title, which is King, and it gives his territory, which is Great Britain and the Dominions. So a typical seal has all those components, the title, and it has the name, and it has the territory. And without it, a law would be useless. It would have no authority. Now the Decalogue is a law. It is the law of God. Now this whole law has its authority only because it has a seal in it. And the law delivered 2 tablets of stone written with the finger of God. Deuteronomy 9 verse 10. God's seal is in the heart of God's law. Let's listen to this carefully. All the other commandments are just commandments. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not do that, thou shalt not have another God besides me, thou shalt not use the name in vain, honor your parents and you will have a long life, etc. But here there's something special. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. For in 6 days the Lord, there's the name. That's Yahweh. That's God's name. We have a name. He made the heavens and the earth. So that is the title. He's the creator. And what is the dominion? Heaven, earth, sea, all that is in them. So there you have the dominion. All the elements are there. And without the Sabbath, the law would have no authenticity. It would be just another document. But now it has the stamp of God. Yahweh, your creator, dominion, heaven, earth, sea, everything, every nation, everything that was ever created is under my dominion. Now, if the United States makes a law, a new law, and proclaims a new law, then that law must be signed by whom before it comes into effect?
The president.
The president must sign it. And if the president doesn't sign it, the law is not valid. Is that right? All right. Now imagine, I always use a parable to explain this. Imagine we place ourselves back sometime there in the times of Germany. And Adolf Hitler comes to power, and he's so impressed with his power, he wants to make sure that there is no opposition. So he proclaims a law. It's just a hypothetical story, it's a nonsense story, but it's just there to illustrate a point. He proclaims a law, and he says, next Wednesday, 12 o'clock, I want the German people to come onto the streets and proclaim their solidarity for me by one voice shouting Heil Hitler on that particular day, on Wednesday at whatever time, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, let's say 12 o'clock. Everybody has to do it. And the Gestapo is out, and the military police is out, and the parades are full. How many of the German people would have appeared on the street that day? Just about everybody. And there they go, and when the clock strikes, they all show their solidarity. Now, I was so impressed with that I make a law, and I say, no. Next Thursday at 12 o'clock, everybody has to come onto the street and shout, Heil Walter Veith. Send that out to everyone in Germany. Next Thursday comes around, how many people appear on the streets? Not one single sausage. That's not fair. Why not? Why'd they do it for that bozo but not for me? What's the difference? I don't have the authority, I don't have the title, I don't have the jurisdiction. Does that make sense? So his counts, mine counts for nothing. Mine counts for nothing. I have the same law, but it means nothing. Well, Adolf Hitler got so excited when he got such a positive response. It never happened, by the way. But he decides to write the same law, and he sends it, let's say, to Russia.
To see this entire video, please contact amazingdiscoveries.org or by phone at 1-866-572-9457 or by fax at 604-599-9949. Our Canadian address is P.O. Box 189, 7101C, 120th Street, Delta, British Columbia, V4E 2A9. Our U.S. address is P.O. Box 4480, Blaine, Washington, 98231.